laughter flows, we're shouting out to those who know. Spreading joy, sharing love, ToyLeet fam, you rise above. Shout out from the creek, you're the best. Hype up the heroes who've passed the test. Community stars shining bright, lifting each other, it feels so right. Collectors, creators, friends we've made in this toy world, your kindness displayed. From epic finds to helping hands, together we stand in all the land. Shout out from the creek, you're the best. Hype up the heroes who've passed the test. Community stars shining bright, lifting each other, it feels so right. With every share and every cheer, we build a world where friends are near. ToyLeet family, strong and true, we celebrate because of you. Shout out from the creek, you're the best. Hype up the heroes who've passed the test. Community stars shining bright, lifting each other, it feels so right. So here's to you, our shining crew. ToyLeet's heart through and through, keep spreading love and showing care. Shout out from the creek, we're always there.
You're muted. You're muted.
Man, that was the greatest entrance I had ever given. I said, "What's going on, folks? How's it going?"
Oh, that damn mute button gets us every time.
Yeah,
we
sorry
went,
for the background
we went
noise.
backstage. to get the start going, you were asking me if I could hear the music or whatever, and I was like saying yes, and I forgot that I had already muted myself. You're like, give me a thumbs up, dude.
Right, right, right.
Damn,
Awesome. I got some noise in the background, so I apologize. Hopefully it's not too bad, and it should disappear in a moment. Water is running there. I'm just checking. I've got the gain on and the echo cancellation and it's AI reduce noise. How do I sound right now?
You sound great.
Awesome. Can you hear the water?
Nope.
AI's doing its thing then. I guess there's some AI setting in the audio where it removes the background noise. So that's awesome.
Awesome.
Good deal.
Excellent.
Cool. That's awesome. Awesome.
Productive.
How's the yeah, like taking over the world. How's everything going in your world, man?
One noise cancellation at a time.
Right. How's everything on your side of the planet?
Doing good. Been busy with work, but going on my, let's see, this will be my 8th week, and I already got a nice raise.
Oh, that's the way to do it, man. Mm-hmm. That's awesome, bro. Good deal, man.
So I was pretty happy with that. Didn't even have to ask for it. Boss just said, You're killing it.
That's always a good thing.
Perfect. Thank you. I'll take that.
That's freaking awesome, dude.
But outside of that, like I was telling you, I'm heading down to South Carolina this weekend. Got to go and get some stuff for my daughters who got shipped overseas with the Air Force, and she packed up her apartment into a storage unit, but left a couple of things down there at her friend's house, including her car, like her engagement ring and things like that have, she didn't want to just leave in a storage unit in case anything happened. So
right.
So I'm driving that back, but I'll keep the car, take the car out for a drive every so often, make sure it's maintained and all that.
Where's she at? Where's she at? Carolina?
She's in South Carolina, but she can't tell me where she is now because she's got some.
I meant where was she based before she? Where did you have to travel to the vehicle?
She's at Fort Shaw, which is like two hours south of Charlotte, so it's like right at the bottom of the state.
How far is that from ToyLeet?
About 6 hours.
Did you think about making a trip?
I thought about it. I seriously considered it.
Put the miles on her car.
Yeah. I was thinking about that when I was watching Robo Saturday, and he's like, "Yeah, next weekend's Toyland." And I was like, do I want to take the extra 3 hours south and then 3 hours back north plus the trip home? I was like,
yeah, absolutely.
And then I got to drive back down there in June.
Our buddy Terrence is going to be down there, Creative Realms, and for those that haven't seen, Hexastack will be on site there. We weren't able to produce enough product to get it in his hands for shipment or for shipping it down there for him so that you could purchase it. But there will be a special code for anyone that wants to purchase something based on what they see down there at ToyLeet at the Creative Realms booth that will be given away, and we'll be shipping the product out directly from here. So he'll have some samples on hand for folks to see it with some of the most recent revisions and whatnot. But we'll be in full scale production Hexastack this week as I doubled the amount of printers I have. Now I just got 7 new printers in last week, and these are high speed printers. What are you laughing at? Who's talking?
I'm laughing at you. I just got another 7 printers in.
Yeah, 7 identical. I'm like one of those people that likes to keep them consistent, so that way, like if I got to troubleshoot one, I know how to troubleshoot them all. So I've got 7 of the same ones. They're high speed, multi-color printers. They're very cool. I'm very excited. Got the factory updated. You'll be seeing some videos as you suggested this week, Ed. I should be putting out some videos this week over on the Hexastack Instagram, so folks can see the products being made. So yeah, really cool stuff there. I know there's some folks that are very interested and excited to see that. So I will definitely you'll see some updates to the site in the coming days. Probably tomorrow night and Tuesday night, you'll see some updates there with the updated images. There was some changes to the way I did some things, and on the next show, I'll be previewing those during a portion of the show.
Awesome.
I got a couple other things I'm working on, Ed.
All right,
so, talk about it.
No, go for it, man. Floor is yours.
Oh, awesome. So I got another channel I'm working on. I'm not going to announce the name of it, but it's going to be a wrestling inside kind of deep dive. So it's going to be a pre-recorded stream around the history of wrestling in different segments, and I'm going to tie it into the toy community based on some of the action figures that I've collected in the Ultimate form by Mattel. So it's a big thing I'm working on. It's going to be a much more cinematic
Yeah.
YouTube. More, I've gotten a lot of inspiration from things I've seen over on. Why can I not think of his name? I'm blanking.
You're talking about the guy that does the wrestling shows with the action figures?
No. I watch him on YouTube. Dan Larson. I can't think of
Oh,
what it's called.
yeah.
I can't think of the show for
Infinite.
whatever reason.
Know what the hell it's called?
No, not Infinite. What is it now?
Everybody knows Dan Larson though, so it's okay.
Yeah, whatever his name is. Secret Galaxy, whatever it is.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's styled like that as the approach I'm trying to take to, but it'll be a pre-record, and it'll be focused just on wrestling. So I'm working on that. So I'll definitely be promoting that here to those that want to talk wrestling, because I know people here. There's probably a few people that are interested in wrestling, but I'm working on that. So keep your eye out for that. I'm very excited
Awesome.
to really talk through that.
When are you going to launch it?
Next month. When I say next month, not April, I'm looking for May. So I'm working on the edits and stuff. I've already got the script that I've knocked out. I've already recorded some of the images and stuff, but I got to do some.
Get some videos in the bank before you go live, or goes.
Yeah, I plan to kind of do it in like an 8-episode kind of like release. Release 2 at once, and then I'm going to releasing the other 6 in following weeks, and do it in an 8-series kind of release. So season 1 will be like 8 episodes, but I've already got the content and the topics for each 8. It's something I've been working on for several months now. Part of the reason I redid the basement, have this area down here as the YouTube studio and workspace for all creative endeavors for myself. So big item. Just wanted to put that out there for folks if you're interested. And looking forward to moving that one forward. It's going to be fun. If not, it's just going to be me talking wrestling, and I always can do that. So very excited. That said, Ed, what's going on with your world, man? What's up besides the trip next weekend?
Not much, man. Like I said, I'm just working and then doing this trip, and got Easter coming up soon, and waiting for the damn weather to stop being fucking shit.
Speaking of Easter, no better time than now to say that, because your travel next week. I know last week there was a power outage out in Western New York, so you were out of power for 8 hours or so. So we weren't able to go live last week. So we didn't go live last week. We pushed to this week. Normally we'd be going live next week, but because of the schedule and the delay, we're going to push off. And our next scheduled time to be bi-weekly would be on Easter, but we're not going to go live on Easter because I'm pretty sure the bunny would kill both of us. So we're going to go live the week after on April 12th. We got a really cool topic, which we'll talk a little bit about at the end of the show tonight, and prepare you guys for that. But if you guys don't know who we are, we're the ToyLeet. He's Ed Axiom Figs. I'm the Mr. Wonderful. Together, we get together every couple weeks, and we talk plastic. We talk our passion, some of our joys, things that we've seen in the toy community, with a heavy focus on independent toys, independent creators, and the adjacent. We will dive into things like wrestling action figures and some of our topics, maybe my Mattel or Hasbro, things like that. We may talk Marvel at times, but we really are dominated with the independent space because it's something we both enjoy. It's where we spend a lot of our dollars when related to our hobby. And we're just two dudes, probably older than we should be, playing with our toys. And we every week we talk about things, we shout folks out with a little throwback to the origination of this show with Ed and his son. And we shout someone out from the crick for some cool stuff they're doing, or stuff they've done and stuff we hope they do in the future or want to support. And then we also talk about things, whether it's, ToyLeet, is it elite? Is it something we're happy with? Or is it something that's going to go down the toilet and flush it? And then again, we talk independent toy news, and we always have a main topic. We always have a topic that is, we try to do it unique. We try not to repeat the same things. We do have some annual Topics like we will have the Joe Fest one coming up soon in a few months
Amazing.
as we prepare for June. That'll be the third one that we've done for that topic, but we've tried to do something different and unique, a little different than our friends over on all the other YouTube channels do, because so many folks cover similar things. We don't do toy reviews. We talk about things, and like this week, we'll be talking about, our exclusives still special. That's the topic this week. We'll talk a little bit more about that briefly, but let's hit up the chat real quick. I know we got a few folks that joined.
Yeah, we are halfway ToyTube official with Nolan in the house. I know his better half, Rhea, was not feeling well yesterday during the clubhouse, but she hung out for a little while. So hopefully she's feeling better. What's up, Nolan? And
he's not feeling good.
We got this crazy dude, Mr. Wonderful, pulling double duty. We got David R saying hello to everyone. What's up, David? And Ronnie Trickshot saying good day, legends. Good day to you, mate.
Hey,
what's happening?
Thank you.
And that's it for now. I'm sure more people will be joining us.
Yeah, it's an odd week, and we're Sunday nights. We took it over, right? Like that's what we did. We're still trying to take it over. Slow rise, right? Slow rise. That said, Ed, I'm just gonna pull up the slides.
Well, did you get anything?
Oh,
or you want to do this first?
Well, let me go back. Rewind. Okay, so I didn't get anything. Well, I got a whole studio. I got 7. I got my 3 printers. I think that's enough. But I did get some. We did get some Corsair Creation kick-ass t-shirts. Oh, I got my cool T-shirt from my boy Terrence over at Creative Realms, and again, also partnering with him to have my stuff at his booths, and you will see my stuff at his booths available for sale in future conventions also. I hope I was allowed to say that, Terrence. I know you promoted it, but for all the 10 people listening. Right.
It's out there now. That you can't rewind, my friend.
Right. And then a couple stickers.
Yep, got some stickers. Cool stuff.
Yeah, awesome. And then what about you, Ed? Did you get anything cool?
Well, I picked up a couple of the Soldiers of Fortune from Big Bad Workshop. This is the one that's yellow. They're all the same. So, I mean, some of them have different knee pads, but that's pretty much the only difference in all the figures that are this style.
That's cool.
So they have like
those are clean.
He's really cool, man. Like, it's all reused from all their stuff from Monster Force and all the other things they did, and I'm happy with him. I think he's definitely worthy of the shelf. And then I wanted to show off one other thing that I got.
Those, before you jump into the next one, as you're prepping for that, the more I see from Operation Monster Force, and that one is, what is it called? Soldiers of Fortune.
Yep.
And then there's all of the other ones, right? Like there's the Action Adventure Team stuff. And I've seen some of the images. I've seen some of the images you've been doing, and I know you've been doing those comic style things. Man, that is awesome. I love it. It's great content. If you're not checking out Ed over on his Instagram, he's doing some really cool storytelling with his toys through some like action figure comic book style stuff. It's really cool, and a little throwback to that graphic novel comic style with his action figure photography. He's taking a lot of the pictures and then using some stuff to really spice it up and make it look cool. But man, I'm telling you, looking at those and seeing a lot of the stuff coming from those guys at Valaverse, and I'll be honest, I haven't seen much from Hasbro recently that I've been paying attention to. They're kind of in that space where I wasn't really Cobra la. I don't get into that stuff. So I haven't really been paying attention to a ton of that. Go check out A Punk with Toys if you want to listen to that stuff. But the military stuff's looking cool right now. There's some really cool stuff, and I could see a lot of really cool stuff being done with it. I will say there's a little bit of me that wishes I had stayed a little bit into that. I'm still loving my fantasy stuff that I've got, and I had to start weeding some stuff out. But you definitely you get. I'm living vicariously through a lot of those things that you're getting.
Yeah, the fantasy stuff, I really dig it. I'm staying with the Savage Crucible, so I made it basically so I'm getting Big Bad Workshop stuff and then, Savage Crucible. So I kind of got both sides, and probably the two, in my opinion, the two best, military and fantasy lines out there, right? And Big Bad is like, I got them all together, Monster Force, Soldiers of Force.
Yeah, If it's from Big Bad Workshop, it's all under that umbrella, just like Harbinger Studio. Like it's
Yep.
or Four Horsemen, right? Like you
Yep.
get all this cool stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. So the last thing I wanted to show off was this.
Oh yes, I saw this in your images I was talking about.
Yeah. Which is 3D printed. It's printed by
Let me
my
go big on
buddy.
you.
My buddy, Plastic Fantastic on Instagram. He does a bunch of 3D printing. I asked him about this because back in the day, the adventure team had a 6-wheeler ATV that was one of their main vehicles, and I just wanted something similar to that. So sent to me. It was all in grayscale, and I painted it all up and glued it all together and stuff. But yeah, it's pretty badass. So
Does he
that's
sell
all.
those?
He will do them for you if you pay for it, but he doesn't like.
Yeah.
Michael's not one of those guys that's like out promoting, that he's doing these for sale, right? He doesn't want to have to get into that, whole thing where he's making a ton of them or whatever, right?
Yeah.
He'll do it for somebody he knows or whatever, like he did something for Punk recently.
Okay.
Those fences that I have? He's the one that did those too, like the fences with the Constantine wire on top. So
Yep. No, I was just wondering because Son of
he
Wonder.
doesn't live that far from you, actually.
What's that?
Yeah, I said he doesn't live that far from you, actually. He lives out in central New York area.
Oh, does he?
Yep.
Oh, I'll have to get in touch with him. You'll have to connect us because Son of Wonder, I could see liking one of those for some of the Joes and the Valas that I have, and taking him outside because he keeps begging me like, when is the boat coming from Valaverse? When is that little boat coming from Valaverse? Because the pool, the snow's melted, so the pool is visible. It's not open, but it's visible, and I know he wants to get in there with some figures and things.
I wonder if Bobby's going to push that boat so he can get it done for the summertime. Because if you put that boat out, October, I mean, he'll still sell it, but more people will buy it, if he puts it out in July,
When you could take it outside and do some stuff outside with it for sure. Absolutely. I mean, everybody's going to buy it that wants it, but you definitely could see a faster mover. And, just get the benefit from it sooner outside. So for sure.
Yep.
Awesome. So was the Soldiers of Fortune figure your ToyLeet or ToyLeet segment?
Yeah, they are ToyLeet.
They go up. Awesome. Good deal. Okay. Going into the main topic here. How do I want to start this? I guess. Sorry, give me a second here.
Thanks.
You seeing my screen? You're seeing my screen, right?
Yep, we can see it.
Awesome. Okay. So exclusives used to mean something, right? If you were there, you missed it, right? If you went to the convention, you were able to get something. Otherwise, you had to have someone that was grabbing it for you. That was part of what made the hobby fun, the chase, the story, the moment, right? But now everything's an exclusive. Con exclusive, retailer exclusive, online drop exclusives, early access exclusives, and half the time they show up later anyways. So the question is, are exclusives still special, or are they just a cash grab dressed up as hype? In the main topic tonight, we're going to be breaking that all down. Ed's got a bunch of opinions on that. Good, bad, and ugly. Not the way he looks. His topic. His points, not the way he looks. That's definitely not. I'm not calling him ugly. And what they've become and whether they're actually helping the hobby and us collectors, or if they're slowly killing what for a long time made collecting really exciting and part of it in the first place. So that's what we're talking about as we get in a little bit. That's the main topic tonight. We'll talk about that. Up next, we got the shout out from the Crick. This is a special one, right? So let me get the music playing.
Down by the creek where the water flows, we're shouting out to those who know. Spreading joy, sharing love, ToyLeet fam, you rise above. Shout out from the creek, you're the best. Hype up the heroes who've passed the test.
Okay, so Ed, you're gonna announce this one. I got a little bit to say after the fact.
All right.
Drum roll.
This week's shout out from the Crick goes to our boys over at Hella Dope Toys. hopefully, we're just kind of shouting those guys out, let them know that they're missed. We missed a show on Sunday nights. Every Sunday, Travis or I ping each other and be like, man, Sundays just aren't the same. And we're doing our own show on Sunday. It's still not the same without those boys. So, Ted and Aaron,
Yeah.
this shout outs to you. We miss you guys. We hope you all are doing well. And hopefully you guys can figure out a way to make it back in some form or another.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I wanted to do here. I think Aaron's birthday was last week, so wishing him a late birthday. We were going to do this shout out last Sunday, but with the delay, it's a little bit further out. But Aaron, happy birthday, sir. I do hope you and Ted are both doing excellent, or better yet, wonderful. And every other week, because when we're on, we're good. But on the other weeks, I'm always like, damn, Ed, Sundays just ain't the same. So you are very much so missed. And what I will say, one of the biggest things that I miss is that core community group of the Helidope show. There was just a lot of folks that were always there week in and out, week in and week out. It was you, Ed, myself. You had obviously Ted and Aaron in the show, but you had folks like Realm of Toys, you had Random Diorama, you had Robert's Infinite Realms, you had Nolan, you had Nomad. What was it? Northern Nomad. Yeah, you had just so many folks. And I know I'm missing Brick. You had you had so many folks, and a lot of them are, following on this shit and stuff too. Punk with Toys. There's a lot of folks that were there, and that was like the core community that I really felt connected with when we first joined on. And part of the reason, I wanted to grow my relationship and my experience on YouTube with everyone. You guys over there at Helidope are.
Ultimately, a lot of us that are friends right now are friends because of that show, right? I mean, I met you on that show.
Oz,
a bunch of other guys, Oz and all those guys, right? I met them on that show, and now we're friends outside of that show, right? So that's kind of why we're shouting you guys out. I know that you're missed, but there's a lot of shows that are going on the YouTubes right now, and a lot of friends that are, seeing each other and talking on the side that wouldn't be there if it wasn't for you guys. So we love you guys.
Exactly. That's the biggest. Yeah, that's the biggest pieces. So many folks, right? Like I just think of that entire group. The clubhouse. I'm not saying the clubhouse was created by Helidope, but it connected me to all those people in the clubhouse and so many different people. So Ted and Aaron, you're missed. Someday, it's been like, I don't know, 7-8 months since I've seen you guys on the tube. I know you guys sprinkle into our chat sometimes. We appreciate you and miss you. Best of luck to both of you. Hope to see you back soon. But don't take back my Sunday. Take every other Sunday.
Yeah.
That said, let's go into the news. But again, shout out to the Helidope boys. Weekly news. We got some updates here. So up first, we got some updates from over at Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. And I think Brick in the group over there said it best. They're not giving it a date. They're not giving dates anymore because they felt like they've left people missing and wondering. So they came out and straight up said they're done giving away estimated delivery dates. Too many times they said, expect it around this time, and then it slips. So instead of continuing that cycle, they're focusing on showing progress moving forward. So their updates are going to be a little different than what we've seen. But the good news is the Brawlers, King Hannibal, Kali Prime, and Grimes are all in what they're calling final stages of production. But again, no dates attached to that. What they did show, though, is actually really cool, at least from my perspective as a backer and a fan of this line. These are the test shot images. I've got a couple more coming up, but you're seeing raw parts straight out of the molds, broken down into multiple pieces. Basically, they're, in the Kickstarter update, they had some getting clean and sorted, basically a QC phase. And one of the things that stood out to me were these figures are way more complex than they look. One of the heads having multiple welding parts and stuff. And Brick and the team over there, they talk about that and explain all of that. Then, I do respect the move and the transition away from giving dates. It sucks not having dates as a buyer and a consumer, but at the same time, I'd rather them stop missing the timelines and just show the process like they have been. And honestly, these test shots, they look so good. It looks like what we're used to from them. Top quality products that your kids can play with, and you don't have to worry about them getting busted and broken. And as I always say, I'd rather get the toy right than right now. So, that goes for everything with me. But we've heard these are close, so let's wait a little bit longer, and I'm sure we'll all be very pleased with the product for these Brawler Bucks as soon as they come. For me, I'll keep waiting because I know my experience with the AWOC has been very, pleasing and had no concerns. A little update from ToyLanta, as we talked to and alluded to before. They're showing up with an exclusive. This is what I believe they're referring to as Machio from the Primal series. It's obviously a kind of, I don't want to say repacked. It's a custom package. Repaint. Sorry, there we go. Repaint, where they've kind of swapped some parts and given some. It looks like a new weapon or two. A little bit of different armor pieces, but definitely has that look of the lion. What's the word I'm trying to think of there, Ed?
Lion-O from Thundercats.
Yes, thank you. I was going to say Lion King from Thundercats, but it's Lion-O from Thundercats. But it's definitely a cool-looking figure. This one I've heard through the chat in posts that I've seen online is going to be a ToyLanta exclusive that if you don't get it from ToyLanta, you might not ever get it. So this is one which kind of ties into our main topic tonight, which is interesting because this may be one of a kind when it comes to the existence of a true exclusive.
This ToyLanta exclusive is actually done through ToyLanta, so like Spiro aren't even selling it, right? It's going to be sold through ToyLanta, so it's a true exclusive to the show. I mean, Tanger was to PowerCon. They still had a few left afterwards that they end up, getting back and selling.
Yeah.
But, I don't think this one's going to last very long.
Okay. I really don't think this.
People love the Lion-O.
I think. Let's talk about this in the main topic. Let's call back to this one a little bit with this exclusive because this is how you do it, in my opinion. This right here could be a standalone piece for people. I think it's gonna be a big hit, and I think AWOC is going to see maybe this to me is a needle mover for AWOC. Huge right here. Very excited. That said, some updates from Big Bad Workshop. This is the Operation Monster Force starting to heat up here. Season 3 production samples have been rolling in. This is what you want to see, right? We've got multiple figures shown fully in package, including the ambassador, and you've got the Red Demon from the 13 Ghost lineup, I think is what it is. Whatever that means, you probably know that better than I do, Ed. But the ambassador lands into that little bit of horror with a tentacle face. Key things here are you're getting test shots and in package. I'm sorry, they're not test shots, but you're getting in package production samples, accessories there. It's all laid out. It's clean, looks good. Looks like what we've become used to from Big Bad Workshop. And they're coming soon. I'm not sure the timeline on this, Ed. You may have more information on that, but overall, this is clean. It's good to see, and continues to be. We continue to see stuff from these guys.
They have Crimson Moon, Agents of Omega, more Soldiers of Fortune coming out next month, right? So
yeah.
I would say they'll probably hold off and do these around like August, September timeframe. Last year was, the last two have been in October. They've gotten their production schedule up a little bit, so it might be sooner than that. But
okay. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, right? I could see this being, that September time, so it's in hand by the Halloween.
Yeah.
Makes sense. But, as you've said, I not hold these in my hands myself, but, everything you've said, if the final quality continues to match what we've seen before, it's going to be continuing to become a popular line that folks are going to regret sleeping on if they haven't gotten in already. I know I have, but again, I live vicariously through you, Ed, on these ones. Brutal Realm had a quick update, I think, on the 13th of the month, so just about a week or so ago. But they had a loaded update. First up, they got a look at Uruk, the Sumerian, and that's just the first pass of them. He's a little boxy, a little awkward shape to me, but we've seen progression from these guys over and over again as they've iterated through their models and molds. So I'm sure this will come out, just as good as the other ones like Crowman and whatnot from what we've seen. They're leaning into a historical Sumerian influence by the mixing in their fantasy style. Sandals are removable from what I was reading. And then obviously the accessories are swappable, so they're keeping that flexibility in places we've seen already. On the production side, they've got some EP samples, so what they're referring to as engineering prototypes being worked on right now for multiple figures. The goal is to have some of those ready for ToyLanta from what I was reading, so people can see those in hand, feel them, check out the articulation and all of that. And then timing-wise, they're actually making a move here with getting the backer kit basically ready, but they're going to hold off until early April between other big Kickstarters coming and going. And then tax season, they're giving collectors a little breathing room before opening up that ability to lock additional orders in. I think that's good. Again, just a little update and awareness here. This line has all the right things. It's just some things, like some of these renders, I'm not extremely excited about, but when I see the figures, I've been pleased. What we're seeing so far, I think this is trending in the right direction. You obviously have some, packaging right there, so hopefully we're on the verge of getting to a point where we're going to get one of these figures in hand. I hope they continue to pivot and push things out more incrementally, as opposed to like a big drop, like a bucket drop, because the biggest thing I have concerns with is that the bag of loot from the Kickstarter dries up and you have to sell something else to build what you have. And if you keep trying to build and you don't get something in people's hands, I think it can become risky. So fingers crossed we start to see some deliverables on this side. But they're constantly updating and seem like they've got a good direction going. See more here. Four Horsemen, they really haven't had much news, except for that big Kickstarter they're doing. Right? So they've had the Mythic Legions RPG keeps building, and things are starting to get a little interesting. They have already hit over $150,000. They've unlocked the full map of the Mythos, which is getting added free to every core rulebook, which for me is exciting. Like, I love seeing things like that. You got some preview images and whatnot here. But now they're going a level deeper and showing off Mercurios, probably murdering that one. But it's one of the key cities from the RPG game, from one of the first, the beginner box adventure. Place has story, so it's going to give folks a little bit more lore, which always excites me. While I may not be going heavy in on this, and I haven't backed this yet, I'm on the fence of how and what I will back. I would like to at least get the game, because I think what we could do, Ed, is I think we could host a really cool ToyLeet, story. Set up some stuff. I could set up multiple cameras, and we could do something like that. We talked about this a little bit, but I think it would be cool to do a show around one of these adventures. And I think the Four Horsemen and Mythic Legions are really cool, and I think you could bring a lot of these other fantasy lines into the fold to do that. This is cool. Keep your eye out for it. The maps are really interesting, and they've had some cool artists that have designed those. Another little view from the Kickstarter. They're almost at 900,000 actually, but they're continuing to move the needle on this one. Over 2,300 backers, and about 2 weeks left to go. I'm sure there's going to be a strong push as they go to ToyLanta, and then after ToyLanta with that last week, I wouldn't be surprised if there were some surprises or other big streams pushing this to really move that needle. I know they have a big goal of wanting to get over that $1 million marker for some additional things, like a villainous paladin cleric. So they're definitely going to continue to try to do that. A little update from them also, or some images where they revealed the paladin cleric, and some other images here. You can see the monster builder, and different configurations that you can do with these. Again, you're not tied to just the Mythic Legions. You can absolutely, from what I can tell, use other fantasy line of figures in there too. Couple updates from our boys over at the Plunderlings. This one's a fun one. It always is. It's not like it's fantasy, kind of like weird, but it's not, the Savage or the AWOC or Mythic Legions. But this one, was originally actually supposed to be part of the Kickstarter, but now they've actually gone right to Big Bad Toy Store and made them available for pre-order over there. And these are the Plunder Frogs, or Plunder Frog, and you've got a few different versions of it. So you can go ahead and take a look at those over on Big Bad website. And again, this isn't just a Kickstarter. They decided to bypass that and deliver this and just produce them on their own, which is exciting. And it was really positive to see them do that. I know it's a little risky for a smaller business, but they seem to have carved out a pretty strong niche and have a really good small following, or, I don't want to say small following, but for an independent toy line, they've created a good following for that. They're always really cool, bright colors, tons of accessories, magnets in heads, different things like that. So there's some cool features you can do with that. If you haven't checked out Plunderlings, they've got the Plunderlings, Plunder Calls, Plunder, or I guess it's Plunder Longs, Plunder.
They have Plunderlings, Plunder Longs, Plunder Strongs, Plunder Beaks, and Plunder Frogs.
There we go. And they don't have Plunder Wings for whatever reason, but that's a whole different story for another time. Couple updates from Savage Crucible. They've got an exclusive at ToyLeet, and this is number 2 for the year. They had 7 they announced. I also think I saw something online where Rob had posted or commented on someone's post that they have their next IP that they will be announcing, I believe is in July, once everything's finalized. I think that's what he hinted towards in one of the chat comments that I saw. I'll have to go back and look at that. But this is number 2 from their 7 that they announced that they would be having this year from drops outside of their normal release schedule. So this is exciting. This is, using the human buck they have, a new character. They've seen it. I know we've seen it at a couple of their conventions already, kind of on display in the background. So it's a cool looking figure, pale skin, glowing eyes. It's got a little bit of like futuristicness to it with like a metal looking kind of, plated face and stuff. But it's a very cool looking figure that I think would go very well with Nashorn, I think is the character's name. If you haven't seen him, he worked really good. You like this one, Ed?
Yeah, I have to give props to Savage Crucible because they got their wave coming out next, right? The snake dudes, the snake
people. Yep.
Yeah, and they got
so wave 4. Guys.
Yeah, and they got the fish guys coming, but then they're also dropping these in the middle, so it's like you still get the access to buy new figures without having to drop, $600, $500, whatever it is on a wave, and every time it comes in, and it's just a nice way to do it. I know Mythic does it to a point with their figure Obscura and things like that, but Mythic Legion's waves are just big. That's all.
Yeah, and I think the way I was going with this, and that's something Rob Post has always said from what I've heard him on his streams, is that he wants to keep it to like 4-figure waves at the most when he does do waves, to make it not such a burden on people's wallet at one given time, and also to make it so you don't have so much money sitting out there for a year or 2 on a pre-order. But these con drops or these exclusive drops or these random drops that he's been doing, which have coincided so far with ZoloCon and ToyLeet, what I think is really cool is that, and it's kind of what I was alluding to with like the Brutal Realm, right? Like right now, we've seen nothing in hand from Brutal Realm yet. With Savage Crucible, they came through with Wave 1. Between Wave 1 and Wave 2, they were sprinkling in different Lemurians and things, right? And like different versions and tweaking it, stuff that wasn't available on the Kickstarter, that wasn't there, but to keep you invested and keep you getting and satisfying that taste for people who had Kickstarted and backed things and were getting some of their stuff in, but also giving the opportunity for new consumers at conventions and other places to get that feel and that ability to consume some of this product that they may not have been able to get into the Kickstarter because they didn't know about it at the time. So it's been really cool. This is number 2 of the 7 they announced or have alluded to this year. Very excited to see what they continue to push through after this. This could be an army builder. You could take this and all the extra parts you have from all the different human bodies and stuff. There's so much stuff you could do with this. I'm very excited to see some of the customs that folks have with this pale version.
Yeah, speaking of customs, they also announced they're starting their customs corner or whatever you want to call it in their face.
Well, there you go. There you go. Savage Action Figure Customs. This one's an interesting one. Nice play right there for me, Ed, right into the news. This
I
is
didn't even know that was
very
coming.
similar.
That was unplanned, fellas. Unplanned.
Yeah. So this is, and I actually commented on one of the posts because I wanted to know if this was officially connected with Savage Crucible, and they did confirm there's a direct connection with them. And what they did was it's basically my action figure custom, but it's the Savage from what I can tell. It looks like it's the My Action Figure Customs, but it's now rebranded as Savage Action Figure Customs, very much specifically tied to the Savage Crucible line. And as you can see here in one of the photos, and there's some other ones floating around of different figure pieces. I actually thought this was a completely new head sculpt, but from what I'm gathering, this is like a mask that goes on your Como figure. I don't know, but it looks freaking cool. And we are definitely going to be seeing some additional work out of these guys, especially, this is going to be a huge hit for consumers. I know that I see people asking for new head sculpts of Como and other characters. So the fact that you're seeing kind of Savage Action Figure Custom step up and take that role on, I think opens up a whole different lane for us to digest these. And Como's one of my favorite characters. So Como, Keith, Krieger, and Human, like they've killed it with things, and now you're getting these additional pieces. And if you know anything about the lore of Savage Crucible, Como here, he is halfling, I guess, or whatever. He's half Lemurian, half human, and his face looks very different than all of the other Lemurians. So they've given him in this, it looks like a mask to make him disguised with the other Lemurians when he needs to go kick their asses, from what I can tell. But yeah, looking forward to see what they do, and it's just going to allow for bigger, deeper collection in the ecosystem for consumers. But good plug there, Ed. You carried me right on in. Tyrone Caceres showing off a few new images where they were kind of showing off the scale of their line with other well-known lines. You can see some comparisons of the different figures against some other Four Horsemen figures. You can also see them against some Star Wars Black Series figures there to see that they are scaled up beyond just that traditional 6-inch scale. They're more than like 6.5, 7-inch scale figure that you're used to with your Four Horsemen figures, your Savage Crucible, and whatnot. And then you can also see an image here on the screen that they showed off recently, which really does the goal here is to show the articulation of these figures these are all points of articulation that this figure is supposed to be able to make with or without their jacket on. So I know the jacket isn't shown in this image, but the idea is that this figure should be able to do these different articulation aspects, whether they have that molded jacket or not on the body. So that's cool and good. I know we've expressed the desire to be able to set the figure in different ways, and that while I really like the line, the figures look cool. We both would like these pirates to come to fruition once this Kickstarter happens. One of the things I know you and I talked about, Ed, earlier was that would be nice to have fabric coats because of the way you may want a pirate to sit on a throne or at the top of a deck, how do you want them to sit, things like that. But knowing that you get a little bit more ranges of articulation than maybe even we expected is good news for sure.
Yep.
Awesome. I think we got one more update from one more vendor here, and that's the Valaverse line here. Over there, we had a couple updates. We had Malice. This is going to be I believe the DFW exclusive, which is a DFW G.I. Joe show that they do down in Texas. And this is sometime in June, I think, if I remember correctly.
I think at DFW is in May this year.
Oh, did they move it to May? Okay, so they're not directly competing with Joe Fest this year. Okay.
Yep.
This one is, exclusive, but I thought this was a really cool figure. It looks like they're using that bigger buck that they came out with a little while ago. I think maybe the second or third figure on that bigger buck. And this one is part of the Garrison, which I think if you follow the lore, read the comics from Valaverse, the Garrison they're like the bad guys. Like they're hanging out with what is that guy's name?
What's his name? Carrick?
Carrick, yeah, he's hanging out with Carrick, and they have that kind of medieval helmet style too. But he's got a bunch of big weapons and whatnot. Looks like a
Yeah.
cool figure. I saw a comparison that he kind of reminded people of the character from The Walking Dead, one of the later seasons of The Walking Dead, which I was like, I can kind of see that. Definitely built bulky and stuff like him. But yeah, this is a cool figure. I don't know if I'll get it. I still float in with some of the Action Force stuff, but is definitely a cool looking figure for sure. Then next, they did just, I think today, preview some stuff from the World War II line, 1944 line, I think is what it's referred to as. But it's just some closer look at some upcoming releases that they'll be pushing once they go there. It's really kind of like a full tactical layout in that 1944 kind of historical look. You got the sheath down there by the ankle, but definitely a different look from what we've become accustomed to from the Action Force line, because of this being the 1944 version of that. So
Yeah,
looking forward to that.
I'm interested to see how this comes out. So
This I feel like would be right up your wheelhouse, Ed. I feel like this is something that you would definitely be into, just because of like kind of that legacy military look and feel.
yeah,
Awesome.
100%.
Cool. Awesome. Before we go to the main topic, which I'm just going to shift to on a screen here, what do we have any comments we want to cover?
Oh yeah,
Want to hit the chat real quick?
we got several. So
Awesome.
Nolan is saying he's looking forward to the new AWOC figs.
Yes, so cool looking.
Kind of glad they'll be re-released in waves, because man, there's a lot of new figs coming. Yeah, absolutely, Nolan. Also, Nolan's saying he hopes he can get one of those the AWOC Toyland exclusives, the Lionel.
Yeah, me too, man.
And Northern Nomad's here. We were just talking about this guy. What's
Hey,
up?
we were just talking about him. What's up, dude?
And Brian from Endless Fables is here saying, hey guys, what's up, Brian?
One of my favorite guys out there, Brian. He's awesome.
Yeah, Brian's a cool guy. And another cool guy right here is Troy.
Hey, what's up, Troy?
What's up, my dude? Troy's a cool dude. And we got my buddy Matt, local guy, one of my buddies. It's been a minute. Ahoy, everyone. What's going on?
What's up, man?
And we got Robert, action figure sold separately.
What's up,
Robert? Robert's a cool guy too. I'll be seeing him at Joe Fest.
He does the dials, right?
Yeah, he's the one that does all the dials.
Yeah, he's got some cool dials for sure. Go check him out on Instagram.
He's got some awesome stuff. So yeah, check out his stuff. He sells his dials, takes commissions. He's actually the one who did the dial at PowerCon, or I think it was PowerCon, or maybe the first Joe Fest that I went to,
right,
for Operation Monster Force. So, and
awesome.
Brian saying Rob also said that with the one figure drops, they can fit in between larger production drops. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And Matthew Madsen's here saying half Atlantean, half Lemurian, to correct you on your,
of course,
favorite character that you don't know the lore of. And
he's human.
Yep. Also saying that DFW is at the end of May.
Okay. Thank you for the confirmation.
They have the World Cup Soccer in June in DFW, so that's why that's not going there. And we got the Bricksters here saying, "Hey, fellas, what's up, Brickster?"
Brick. I was listening to him and Adam today. Both of their shows they were on.
Yep. And Rob, so it was Joe Fest that he did the Monster Force. There's a really cool toy store right in Augusta. I can't remember the hell the name of it, but Punk and I went there last year with a bunch of the other guys. And Rob also did a dio for a display for them. So he does some awesome work. So if you guys want a cool dio, go over and hit up Rob. That action figure sold separately on Instagram. He does do a little bit of YouTube, but Instagram's the best place to see his work. Yes, you missed the news, Brick. You missed the news. You want Travis to run through it again?
I'll go back. Yeah, you can recap. Actually, speaking of, and one of the news items I missed but reminded myself when I saw Brick pop up here is that on Highly Articulated Show, I think Monkey Business is what they call that one. They had Jason from Spirit Toys on, and they were talking, and somebody asked a question about the comics and what was coming, and Jason confirmed that the moving forward direction right now is to do it in like a grouping, I think, rather than like one off, like rather than
Yeah.
printing individual comics, they're going to do it as a like 1 through 5, 6 through 10, that type of thing. So
Yeah.
moving forward, that's the expectation. I think they were talking about I think what he said was with the Brawler Bucks is to try to tie together having when the Brawlers come to have the 1 through 5 all grouped together to have available at that point. It's easier to manage sales and things like that with that.
Yeah, of course it is. That's definitely the way to go nowadays. Yes, I did get a great night's sleep last night, Brick. I was done when I left the clubhouse last night. I was just toasted. Top
How late
dog.
was that last night?
It was. I got off at like 2:30, I think.
Oh, okay.
They were still going strong when I left, but I couldn't
Man.
even keep my eyes open anymore. Top Dog Comics is the toy store in Augusta that Robert did the.
Oh, nice.
And we got my buddy, my brother, who I've been doing a lot of collaborations on Instagram, Menhoza here. What's up,
Yep.
Menhoza? And yes, Ronnie Trickshot. He was in the. He went to Top Dog Toys too with us that year. You are welcome,
One of these
Robert.
years.
Yep. They're all blurred now. I'm over 50. It doesn't matter anymore. I stopped counting years. You are welcome, Robert. You do some amazing stuff, man. And I'll definitely be seeing you at Joe Fest to get some stuff from you. Brick said he's already scrubbing. And yes, trade paperbacks for the comics.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yep.
Troy saying Clubhouse was great. Yeah, Clubhouse is always a good time, man. I love being on there. Some nights I just run out of gas.
I was gonna go in and I watched for a few minutes and passed out in bed, and yeah, that's why I stopped talking.
Well, I was up doing radnoms on Friday till 2 a.m. on Saturday morning, and then
Right.
I went to bed at like 3 because Radnom and I hopped on afterwards and talked for an hour.
Oh, okay.
Went to bed at like 3:30. Was up at 6 and couldn't go back to sleep, so I had like 2.5 hours of sleep. So by 2:00, 2:30 this morning, I was just done. I was like, there was no more go.
Yeah, that's a lot of being up.
Yeah. So
to think like a year ago you were around the clock.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah. Good deal. Awesome. Thanks folks for tuning in. Appreciate the heck out of you. So to the main topic, right? So let's start here, right?
No, I'd like to say before we close this out that I could still keep up with a bunch of you younger motherfuckers, so don't think that I'm getting soft because I had to go to bed.
You're streaming way better than you're on more than I am. I'm falling asleep like way too early lately. Like I'm exhausted by
it probably didn't help
9 o'clock.
I went out with my brother yesterday for lunch early dinner, late lunch, and I had like 5 cold pops that I shouldn't have drank all 5 of. So.
Gotcha.
That did not help the situation yesterday at all. So.
Good deal. So going into the topic, right? Our exclusive still special, right? So let's start here. What even is an exclusive anymore, Ed? Right? Because it used to be simple. If you didn't go to the con, you didn't get it. End of story. Unless you knew a guy.
Right.
If you didn't hit the store for it and it was gone, you missed it. It was just part of the game of collecting. Now everything's an what's that?
I said mail-aways. They had mail-aways.
Mail-aways, yep. Exactly. Now everything's an exclusive, though, right? Con exclusives, retail exclusives, online exclusive, members only exclusives, early access exclusive. Yeah. It's like the word doesn't really mean what it used.
Yeah.
So, is a timed release really an exclusive, or is it just early access? Are companies redefining it, or are they just stretching it out for $1? So, Ed, I'm going to throw it over to you. When you hear exclusive, does it still mean something to you, or has it kind of lost some of its weight?
So exclusives used to get me very excited, and now they just get me frustrated.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And I know a lot of people get frustrated, and you hear all the whining and all the complaining and all the nonsense in every community that's revolving around action figures about how, if that's exclusive, I'm not going to be able to get it because I'm not going to that show and blah, 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 blah. That's the point of the exclusive. Either get someone to get it for you, or you don't get it, or you pay the aftermarket price, right? That's how exclusives are supposed to be. You
Yeah.
either get to a Walmart to get their exclusive or whatever store it is, and Toys R Us back in the day, right? But now it's just like, well, it's exclusive, but we'll put the leftover stock out on the web when we're done, and it's not really exclusive. So now it just frustrates me because we've basically taken the indie toy companies, especially, and then Hasbro and Mattel are just as bad. They give in to all the online, people that are loud about how they're supposed to get a hold of it, and then they just give in.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, right? You're definitely not wrong in that sense, right? And I mean, I guess from a consumer standpoint, there is that frustration when it's a con exclusive, and it's sold as a con exclusive. I will at least give the companies credits today. The Savage, Valaverse, Four Horsemen, right? Like they come out and they say it's a con. It's a con exclusive in the sense that it's basically early access to it, and it's a guaranteed access to it at the convention. There's no guarantee you're going to land one when it hits online. For example, Four Horsemen last year with their Barbarian exclusive,
Yep.
sold out in 10 seconds online. People missed out. Aftermarket. I'm not hurt by that. Like, I'm okay with that. Like, that's part of the game. But I will say, at least these smaller ones are relating to the consumers enough to say, look, they're exclusive. You want to guarantee you get one, show up to the cons.
Right.
And hopefully they still have them in stock, right?
Like Big Bad did their Operation Monster Force Phantom Core Command Unit, right? And that was their traveling con exclusive last year. So if you go to the con, you pre-order it, it gets dumped into your Big Bad Toy Store, thing. I still don't think it's an exclusive. I think it's an early buy option.
It's early access exclusive.
Right.
It's
early access.
It's you're getting right.
And when they put it up, at the show, it was $39.99 to pre-order it. When they put it on their site, it was $49.99. So there was that benefit of ordering it, at the con, right? You got the $10 discount. So those kind of things don't frustrate me as bad as when like Hasbro did the SDCC Dreadnought band thing last year for their exclusive, but then they were up on Hasbro Pulse for however long the next month, right? It's just like,
yeah. Well, I mean, let's move to the next slide, right? Because that kind of touches on it, but I think we can go deeper, right? So back in the day, right, exclusives were a reason you showed up. We covered that, right? That was the hook. You went to the convention for that figure or those figures. You hit the store because it was the only way or the only place to get it. I think of Toys R Us, for example. There was a WWE line with their elites that they would do, and they probably did some basics or whatever back then that did it too. But they had their figures that were only available at Toys R Us, only place you can get it, and you were able to get access to like these exclusive Build-A-Figure sets that you only could get there. It couldn't go to Walmart, couldn't go to Target. You had to go to Toys R Us for it. But it feels like that's shifted, right? People aren't chasing the location anymore; they're just chasing the drop. They're going and they're attempting to get it, but it could be online. It's not the same, right? Amazon's kind of killed that. The industry's changed, right? So that's part of it, but it takes away from it, right, Ed? Like, the idea of going to these conventions was it drove traffic. It got people in there. It got people in there for the retailers, the vendors that are selling other products, maybe not an exclusive. It got feet in the door, so other booths and other people were seeing it. Kind of spread the wealth. I think of PowerCon. PowerCon was huge. There were so many convention exclusives at PowerCon when I was there that you should have only been able to get there, I guess, right? Like, that was the idea. You had Tanger, a whole list of figures. There was a couple that I was focused on. That was the main one. I know Four Horsemen had some. Valaverse, I think, had some. And
Valaverse had one.
That's draw. Yeah, I think it was Pandora exclusive or one of those, maybe. Maybe it wasn't Pandora.
It wasn't Pandora. Yeah. It was...
it might have been the other girl.
No, it was a guy. That was right before the girl line came out.
Okay.
That was it was a guy who was a trooper, but I can't remember what he was. But it was an exclusive because I got me and Rob when I was there.
Okay.
But
like, to you, Ed, right? You said it earlier, and I love this angle, right? Like, are exclusives still a draw to the stores and cons, or are they just expected at this point, and you're going to get them wherever you want?
I think they're still a draw, but I think on the flip side of that the word exclusive is thrown around now as a marketing tool and only a marketing tool. It's not truly like saying, hey, we're going to have this exclusive at this con and it's going to be exclusive only to the con, right? So it's, or the
Right.
store or whatever, right? So now it's used as like saying, you know, buy 3, get 1 free. You know, it's the same type of thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, here's an example, and this isn't to bag on anybody. Again, we talk about this from just an angle as a consumer. Look at Four Horsemen. Last year, they went to San Diego Comic-Con. They were doing an exclusive for, what was the figure? It's one of the RPG figures. I can't think of which one it was, but it's that RPG figure. It was exclusive, and had to get it to San Diego Comic-Con, and it was like the black and gold one, I think, right? And then they said that you would have a chance to get one, but it would not have all the same pieces that the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive would have, but it would be almost identical, right? And you could get it at the Kickstarter. And then at the Kickstarter, originally it was, we're only going to have X number for the backers. That's exclusivity. So the first 100 people are like, I'm rushing in. I'm pot committed. And then they kind of rolled back. And again, I get it. Dollars, they're making more money. How do I don't want to say it like from a gatekeeper's perspective. I also don't want to say it from somebody who's investing in it, because I don't think you invest in toys. That's not smart, right? Not as a consumer. Like, you don't, I'm going to buy this now and it's going to go up in value. Like, to me, I don't play that game. I don't think it makes sense. But like, if I'm backing a Kickstarter and they come out and they say the first 100 people that buy this get it, and they're the only ones that are going to get it, or 1,000, whatever that number might be.
Right.
And then they decide, oh, no, we're going to let more people get access to it. Or, only if you buy this in the first 24 hours, you're going to get this, right? Like, that to me is kind of it's disheartening, because it's like, you bent because a bunch of people cried, and I get it, they missed out. But there's something like there's something cool about being the guy or the girl or the person who, I got this, and they don't. Right? Like, that's the idea. Is like, you want here it is, right? We know, like, the shortest man in America who runs a podcast on Monday nights from 9 to midnight still talks about seeing the body slam at Michigan Dome, whatever it is, back at WrestleMania 3. And what else does he talk about? Everybody's heard the story a billion times.
Yep, the flag.
He's got the flag, right? There's not a lot of people have it still. Right. I mean, like, I don't collect that figure stuff, but that's kind of cool. Like as a collector of things, like, I respect his collection game. And if you're one of the top 100 people that got that Kickstarter item and then found out that, oh, don't worry, everyone's going to get access to it, you're kind of like, well, that's kind of gone. They do it with challenge coins at conventions. They do it with different things, right? Like, being part of that exclusive insiders club it's a cool thing. It's a way to respect some of the consumers. And some get left out, but that's the idea.
For me, it goes right along with the whole thing they've done, and whatever you want to say about raising kids or whatever, fuck that everybody gets a trophy shit, because that's how you get a bunch of kids that don't know fucking losing. Because losing builds character. Getting a trophy just because you showed the fuck up doesn't build character. And that's what we're doing now with the toy game. It's going to be an exclusive. Well, everybody's going to get the exclusive because, even though the first 100 buyers jumped on it, dumped their money on us, and we promised them this, we got to backtrack because we don't want to lose out on all this other money that we could potentially get by selling these. And whether that's the driving thing, I don't know, but
right.
Or if it's just they don't want to hear the complaints, whatever. The point is that if you say this is exclusive to this con, you need to go to the con to get it. If it's exclusive to a Kickstarter or a toy store or whatever, it should only be available at that store.
Yeah.
Now, I don't mind the Four Horsemen doing some of the stuff that they do where they say this is a con exclusive for Toylanta. The same version of this figure without the exclusive, gun, face, head, whatever, right? Sword, whatever.
We'll be on later in the fourth quarter.
Right. I'm good with that, right? Because it's like, okay, you're still giving exclusive parts that not everybody's going to have access to unless they want to buy secondhand or whatever. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. That keeps it exclusive. But when you go ahead, and that's why I brought it all the way back to the San Diego Comic-Con, where they said, oh, we're going to do this. And then, but you can get a version minus certain things for the Kickstarter. But then that was released, from my understanding, with a limited number of individuals getting access to that, and then because of whatever it was, and I saw folks on the clubhouse talking about it in the past, and I've seen some chatter in the comments on Facebook groups and things about it in the past, and then I don't know exact numbers, but some people got upset about it and then went ahead and they kind of pivoted. And I get that you need to be willing to pivot to some degree, but maybe it should have been okay. Well, and I don't know what the final decision has been or was, but like to say, okay, well, we promised these 100 people we're going to give them, the B variant, and then there's all these other people that cried they still want the figure. Okay, well, let's go ahead and give those people a chance to get the C variant or the common variant. And if that's the direction, that's fine. But make sure that B variant is exclusive and it's limited. And I'll use it, for example, with Animal Wars of the Kingdom. They have what's supposed to be the Spectral Pale figure. It's supposed to be a Kickstarter exclusive. I will be disappointed if I see that. I don't collect transparent figures and stuff, but I will be disappointed if I see Spectral Pale available to people after the Kickstarter. Like my original understanding was that's what it was. I will be disappointed, but I also understand companies. Maybe they printed 1,000 of them and they didn't sell 1,000 of them, and then they're stuck holding the bag for 400.
Yeah.
Then come up with something else to make it exclusive to be able to get your hands on it. Yeah. Don't just make it available to anybody.
I get that part of it, right? And I fully understand these toy companies are making. They can't say I'm gonna buy 5,000 of these because I know I'm gonna sell through 5,000. They make 10,000 or whatever, and then they might have 2,000 left. But there's got to be a different way to go about that, right? Maybe do some contest, or we're gonna have 10 at each con that we go to this year till the stock sold out, right? Something like that keeps it still limited, but not just give it to everybody. And I made this argument when Bobby Vela did his
mail away
Condor, right? And mail away. Yep. And then all of a sudden everybody was complaining that, I don't have points, so why can't I just buy the figure? And I made the same comment to Bobby straight to his face. I said, that was the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life, because you gave in to everybody complaining that they didn't have the mail away stuff. Back in 1983, when G.I. Joe was out, when I wanted the mail away fucking Hooded Cobra Commander, if I wasn't saving my flag points, I wasn't going to be able to call Hasbro and say, right, because Hasbro would have been like, who the hell are you? We don't care. Too bad. We got to have the flag points, right?
And I think the whole thing with the Cobra thing, or not Cobra, I think with the Condor thing, I think with that's a prime example of a situation where the stock was in surplus of the mail away participants, and he needed to find a way to get it out of his inventory without taking a loss on it, which I understand. And there's an alternative way. Double the price, something, right? Make it so that I know that I did it my way and I did it the right way. And I'm not criticizing him by any means of how he had to do it. It was a startup company, independent toys. I give independent toys a little leeway versus, and Hasbro or Mattel, because they can't sit on that inventory the same way a Funko can drop a freaking freighter into the, into a, dumpster and lose all that, right? Like, it's different. But if it's an exclusive, it's an exclusive. Find a way to make sure it still has value. That word, if you're slapping it on it, should absolutely mean something. And then that's the biggest thing right there. And I'm going to kind of touch on this, right? HasLabs, right? That's supposed to be exclusives, right? You buy it at a HasLab and, it's never available again. Well, the His Tank, right? Or whatever it's called, right? Like, that was a big thing. And then they were coming out with another one, right? Like, they did the Arctic one. And I'm sorry. I'm pissed as a consumer who bought that. I mean, granted, I made my money back because I resold it at a show before. So, I have nothing to complain about because I made more than I spent on it because somebody wanted to pay for it. But, if I'm a consumer that paid, the price that I had to pay for that, was it like $320 or something? I don't know. But, when all is said and done, but I'm promised that this is never going to be released again. You're never going to be able to get this again. And then you just went and painted it white and took the lights out. I don't care. You literally took the mold that we paid for and paid so much money for an exclusive vehicle that should have never been available again, and you went and ran the mold again and you just painted it white and you took the lights out. That's great, but that's a bunch of bullshit. I'm sorry. No.
Yeah. That I don't agree with that at all. Like if you're making a HasLab, right, where you're calling it dream project,
exclusive,
we need to have
can only get it now.
So we can, they're basically saying we need to have this fundraiser so we can pay for the molds and make sure it's taken care of. You shouldn't be able to use that mold again. That mold should just go to the
Archives.
and be,
Yep.
set up so Indiana Jones can fight it 100 years from now and go, what the hell is this, right?
Right. It should be factored into the price that they know that's going to cost this mold. It's a one-time use run, and we're never going to run it again, even if we
Yep.
pull a couple parts out. I'm sorry, that's crap to me. You said it's not worth the risk to do it yourself. You shouldn't be reusing it, making more money off of it, based on the fact that unless you're going to give us a little kickback on send us all a rebate check for the cost of his tank we paid the first time, since you went and relaunched it again. But that's kind of diving into a deep end there. That's probably not the target of this conversation, so I apologize. But it's an exclusive, so I want to cover my frustrations. Now,
let me hit the chat up real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
No one's saying the AWOC exclusive is perfect in my opinion. Great figure, but don't necessarily need it to complete the line. That's exactly how all exclusives used to be, though, right? Like, it was either a repaint that didn't matter, it was a figure that, was something completely obscure that you didn't need to complete a line, or it was a line that wasn't in existence anymore that they were bringing back. Like, back in the day, the G.I. Joe Adventure Team or the Collectors Club would do different figures that were like maybe made from like old designs that never got produced, or figures that haven't been produced in a while. But it wasn't like you needed it to complete a line. You didn't need it to, it wasn't some crucial thing for your collection. It was just a cool thing to have.
Yeah. Well, so
And
who was it that who was it? Hold on, before you do that, who was it that just spoke about the Spiro one?
Nolan was saying that. Nolan was saying that.
So the Spiro one, and that's why I alluded to it earlier. It's a huge thing, but I think that's doing exclusives right? Like, it's going to be available there, likely not going to be available after the show, because it's probably going to sell out, because it's got such a niche. Like, one, they probably didn't do a massive run. They probably did a conservative level run to make sure that they can sell out and not be holding the bag. And it's just exclusive to ToyLanta. It's ToyLanta's purchase, right? And they're selling it, but it's got that homage to Thundercats, right?
Yeah.
So because of that, especially from an independent toy line, like these exclusives, to me, the way Four Horsemen does it, the way Spiro's doing it, doing these exclusives where they're homages to other things, where they can get away with it without skirting IP concerns. To me, it's the right way to do it. It's going to be a needle mover. I really hope that, because of the fact that somebody's going to walk up down that aisle at ToyLanta and see this Thundercats looking figure in a Animal Warrior of the Kingdom creation, I'm hoping that like there's hundreds and thousands. Like, I think ToyLanta gets like 35 to 5,000 people in attendance, foot traffic walking through there over the course of the 2 or 3 days that they're there. I'm hoping that 3,500 people walk past that Spiro booth table and they see that figure there and they're like, oh shit, Thundercats? Oh no, that's not Thundercats, but it sure as hell looks like it. And oh wait, there's all these other figures in this line that look just like this and are really, really cool. I'm hoping this is a massive needle mover for them. And I hope people look at it and see what I hope and believe is going to be a successful exclusive. And I hope that it grows Animal Warriors of the Kingdom so much that others go and say, well, look what Four Horsemen's done. Look what Animal Warriors of the Kingdom is doing. That's what we should be doing for these exclusives, do these homages to pull people into our lines that otherwise wouldn't have given two flying craps about it.
Yep.
Because it's going to grow. It's better for them. So that's what exclusives should be. Those niche type things, I think it's the perfect way. And then, it also, for completists and things like that, if you're a Four Horsemen Cosmic Legions collector, and they've had a couple of those like Cosmic Legion style military looking figures, I don't know if it's ToyLanta or the different conventions they've had down there, but they're like military-esque, right? Like, you don't necessarily need them, so if you miss out on it, you don't feel like, oh shit, my whole collection's trash because I don't have this one golden figure.
They did those for ToyLanta, and that was smart, because they came out and said, this is not part of Cosmic, it's not part of Mythic, it's not part of Figure Obscura, it's its own thing, and it's just basically a military-esque figure for ToyLanta last year and one this year, right?
Yeah, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Sorry, I know I cut off the chat, but I thought no one had a good point, and I wanted to go on my rant there.
Figure Factory, Alan's here saying, howdy y'all, what's up, Alan? Yes, conceptually, I hear you on what works well for an exclusive, like the Mythic Legion's Motu tributes. Exactly. That's exactly what Travis was just saying. Let's see. it's different for every collector according to Brick, but for me, I'm fine with not getting a thing. There's way too many other great things out there. Exactly, Brick. I mean, to really get upset about the exclusives not being able to get it because you didn't go to the show is just it's bad. Yes, Brian, I agree. I hate exclusives. It's a headache. I'm just too old, and I don't care about the hunt anymore. And Brick saying, yeah, I've never been a fan of falling in line and feeling the stress of spending a lot of money to get an event. And yeah, all that. Exactly, Brick. It's not that. I mean, these people act like, if they don't have the full collection, that their collections. Well, if that's how you feel, then you have to go to eBay or a secondary market and find it. If you need that for your collection that bad, because you're 100% completist, then you got to go and do that.
Yeah.
Also, think it affects normal toy dealers, stores negatively. If I buy exclusives from toy companies, it should be around 250 just exclusives from Toylanta, approximately. And your
I
trooper
think it
said,
affects normal toys.
yeah, exclusive figure only at a con. It's free. People like me would
So,
never get
sorry.
it. If it's a
So going
different
back to, sorry,
box
go ahead.
and accessories for the con, cool. But how about it's in a standard? Yeah, I have no problem with them doing a con exclusive in a special con box, and maybe they throw like Four Horsemen does, right? Throw an extra head or something that makes it exclusive, and then putting that figure out as a standard version. I know Troy, you do Black Series, so like if someone was to do Captain Rex with the special, battle damaged helmet or something like that for an exclusive with an exclusive Toylanta box, and then they put that same figure out in the standard box, I'd be upset. But if they put that same figure out and did something different with the actual battle damage, then I'm not upset about it.
Right. Going back to Endless Fables comment before, you don't have to pull it up, but I think what he's saying is that, when you go in there and if he's buying every exclusive, he's already eating up $250 of exclusives at Toylanta. It means that he really is not going to be able to purchase anything from those other normal dealers and stores. So it affects their wallets because everybody's there for those exclusives only. So, I mean, that makes sense. I can definitely see why that would be
I think what happened
it
at
makes it harder.
because PowerCon had a ton of the exclusives left over the last day. Remember, they were announcing, discounts on
No.
all stuff, right? And I think it's
Yeah,
because everybody
vendors
was
could get like them half off at the end of the day. Like you could get all the exclusives at like half off the cost. I think Tanger was originally like $70, something like that, and you could get them for $35 to leave before you left. And I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna need to grab a couple more of those."
And Brick's saying stuff like exclusives help a company identify and activate their hardcore fans and associate with the bigger brands that play those kind of games. Yeah. Its main value is marketing, market. What I don't know what the word is. It's covered up. So market definition.
Well,
Yeah. Change the package for a standard release. Some is Troy saying. Big companies do that all the time. Yeah, like SDCC exclusives at Hasbro and Mattel sell after the con because they don't sell out. Truthfully,
yeah,
I'd rather have them do that than landfill. I agree with that.
I agree with that, and I don't want to be mistaken. I don't want to be mistaken as like that's what I was suggesting is it should be landfilled. I don't think that's the case. I just think there needs to be a unique or alternative way to still make it an exclusive when they have to sell it. I'm not saying that they should take those San Diego Comic-Con figures and just dump them on a freaking boat to be
100%.
disposed of. They should bring them back for next year's San Diego Comic-Con if they've got the capacity. And hey, you can get last year's con exclusive while you're here picking up the new ones or things like that. Still make it, and it doesn't have to be that, right? Like that might not be the answer, but like I feel like there's an opportunity here to find a way to maintain some of that exclusivity for folks. That's the way I see it.
Yeah. I think a lot of it has to do with cost nowadays too, because back in the day, the exclusives were a lot shorter runs, right? And I think now because of the cost of making manufacturing the action figures themselves and getting them over to the States, right? It's not worth it. It's cost prohibitive to do a small run and charge $100 because no one's going to buy the $100 exclusive. If you want to get them so they're affordable, right? You do a bigger run, which then ends up leaving extra inventory afterwards. So it's kind of I don't think there's really a clear answer to it.
You're damned if you're damned if you don't, but there's somewhere, right? And it's finding that middle ground. But it at the core, it comes back to what we're saying. Are exclusives what they used to be? And they're not.
Right. No, not at all.
Yeah. Is there any more comments there? I know there's a ton of comments and whatnot.
Go ahead. Just go on with the next slide. Real quick, though, let me just...
Can we pull this one up?
Yeah, let me say hi to Paying Toy Samples. And let me say hi to, where is he? Plastic Skulls. Thanks for joining in, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Good to see you.
That's all the new people that popped in, yeah. Awesome. All right. Next slide.
Great. Okay.
I'll get that off my soapbox.
No, you're good. You're good. So, I think we covered a lot of this already, but, it's basically if something comes out later, was it really exclusive? We've already alluded to this. Like, if the drop, as something at a con and then they release it 6 months later on the website, was that an exclusive or was it just early access? And I think it goes back to if it's going to be that way before you have it as a con exclusive, you don't show up and say, hey, this is Toylanta, only place you're ever going to get it. You'll never see it again. And you approach it in a, hey, this is Toylanta. It's dropping at Toylanta. You may have other opportunities at conventions or online to get it in the future. But if you want to guarantee you get it, show up at Toylanta to get it. That to me is different. And it is an early release, right? But there's no guarantee. And I'm okay with that. I can digest that. I can live with that. I feel like that's a fair expectation. But don't promise something you're not going to stick to. Don't say you'll never see it again or it's an exclusive only here. And I think most of the independent toy lines have been doing that the last couple of years. I feel like the ones that I follow at least have been very much stating, hey, this is a con exclusive to start. It'll be released later online. Whatever we got left will be available. You want to guarantee it, show up now, no promises. But we're not promising that you'll never be able to get it again because you may. So I feel like that's fair. And I think it's better, for collectors who missed out, but it's just be understanding, right? I think exclusives have changed. Like going back to your point, Ed, mail away. You didn't collect those flag points on your figures in 1984 and 1985, whatever it was, and you didn't mail those away before June 15th or whatever it might have been. You were not getting that figure unless you found it at a toy show or somebody, cousins, uncles, brothers was like, oh, you're a collector. I have a whole bag of those. Here they go. And then you find it, right? Like that's the only way, right? Like that doesn't exist in that space anymore. So exclusives are different. I think we, you and I, and other consumers need to accept that. But I still feel like we need to hold those companies accountable that aren't telling you. And they do say, you're only going to see this at San Diego Comic-Con. It's the only place you're going to get it. Don't ever expect to see it again. It's the only way to get it is to pay for this. Because as buyers, we go and we spend exorbitant amounts of money to get into those conventions to have that access. And then when we find out that I could have stayed home that weekend, I could have done the things I was supposed to, I could have, I didn't have to miss the kid's sports game or the friend's wedding. Because, there are some people that are crazy enough to do those things, right? For their plastic passion. And, and then find out they could have got it online a week later. That's going to suck if they didn't realize that was an option, right? At retail, at normal retail. If it's 2 or 3 times as much or something, so be it. I can deal with that. But, So, Ed, I know we talked about that a ton. Where do you land on this? Anything you want to add to it before I go to the next slide?
No, I think we covered it pretty well.
Cool. So this is what everybody kind of wants to avoid saying out loud, right? A lot of this has nothing to do with value. That's how I feel. You can't look at it from values like, dollars, but it's about the FOMO. It's that fear of missing out. It's not, I want this. It's, I better grab this before I can't. And that's a completely different mindset, right? Are exclusives creating excitement or pressure? What do you think there, Ed? Do you think they're exciting? They're creating excitement, or are they, creating that level of pressure, like you can't miss out, right? Are people buying it because they love it, or just because they don't want to miss it?
I think a lot of people nowadays are buying them because they don't want to miss out on them. There's a huge FOMO issue in all of the collectors' mindset nowadays.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I think
Absolutely.
that's,
I feel like that.
and that's part of what's causing all this going on with the exclusives, right? Is the customers are going, oh, I don't want to miss it because I need it for my collection. I got to have 100% complete collection, right? And so that FOMO is driving them to, uh, complain or say, hey, whatever, right? I don't want to miss out on this, and then it drives them to get it or complain that they didn't have the opportunity to get it. So,
I feel like I've seen a shift in a lot of core collectors that we were seeing on different channels for the last few years, where they're like, I got to cut back. I mean, heck, I was one, right? I had a FOMO like crazy. Got to get this, got to get that, got to do this, got to do that. I mean, I'm happy with my collection. I have so many different collections, and there's things at the store for the WWE figures that I purposely like, I'm just not going to sweat it. If I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. In the future, if I need to go ahead and grab it, I'm gonna. Like, I know I'm going to probably have to pay more for it. There's certain things where, I make that calculated risk and go, okay, I don't want to miss out on this one. I don't want to also pay over the price for it. I can live without this, but I can't that. And I think that I've seen a lot of the tubers that talk about stuff taking a step back and going, I can probably unload some of this stuff. I was just buying for the chase. I was just buying out of fear of missing out, not the excitement of having, what I really want. And like, collections changed, right? It changed from collecting what you wanted to feeling like you needed to have everything. And I feel like those exclusives prey on those people.
I agree 100% with that. 100%. Because when I first got into the 1/12 scale stuff, I was collecting primarily Valaverse, a little bit of G.I. Joe classified that I could find. And that was pretty much it. And I had a couple, odds and ends Star Wars figures that, I saw at Walmart that were, characters that I enjoyed, right? Like Luke and Han and all them, right? But then once I started hanging out in the chats and everything, right, it was like, oh, I got to have this, I got to have that. Next thing you know, I had Mythic Legions, and I had Savage Crucible, and I had every other line you could possibly do. And and you got guys out there like Realm of Toys who's like, let's dive in. And then you see what he's promoting. You're like, damn, I got to have that now, right? And it's like you end up just going too far, spreading yourself too thin, and then you get into that whole position where you're like you, right, buying just full waves of Mythic Legions when you really only want like one or two of the figures, or like only one or two
three
of the figures
them.
really speak to you, right? And I think over the last, since I lost my job last year and when I was unemployed and stuff, I really narrowed down my collection, and I've focused it more to the things that really really speak to me, right? Things that I really enjoy, and it's made me happier with my collection because now I don't have a bunch of stuff that I take one picture of and then I'm like, that was it, right? Maybe two pictures, and it's like,
I've got 2 totes, 2 Rising Sun boxes, and another 12 by 24, 12 by 16 box sitting here of all unboxed figures. I've got shelves over there that are unboxed figures because of the last 5 years of collecting that, and I was just talking to somebody about some of these Rising Sun figures that I didn't unbox, which I've decided I'm going to part ways with. I'm going to use them as trade bait, for some things that I want, from some exclusives and things. Because luckily, I went all in on the Rising Sun wave when, finances weren't the same thing they are today. And, I was able to land them. And, there's some people that are really chasing some of these right now because people peeled off pretty heavy, I guess. And not as many people bought those Rising Suns waves as previously considered. And I guess they're a hard thing to come by. I'm not trying to get rich off them by any means. I'm literally trying to trade them for retail value, what I paid for them and stuff, for some things that I want to get my hands on and I don't want to necessarily spend the money on. Which I'm hoping will work out. But yeah, I definitely think that FOMO is a huge piece of the exclusive, and I think that a lot of that does is it preys on folks and that emotion of needing that they don't need. And I think we've seen with a lot of key collectors that I follow and watch some of that change recently.
and
Yeah.
then kind of have that same eye-opening experience that I had a couple years ago when I started easing off, probably right around the end of the Rising Suns wave, where I was kind of like, oh, you know what? I got to take a step back on some of this stuff. I don't need every one of these, and kind of
Right.
shifting out of the military, focusing on the fantasy, narrowing in. I love my wrestlers. I love my fantasy across Savage and some selective mythics and then the AWOC stuff. But outside of that, it's not a completist by any means.
Right. Real
The
quick,
next one, right?
Ian.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Ian Mudhard Station's here with us. What's up, Ian?
Mana mana.
Mana mana. And Brian saying FOMO is a little different with some of these exclusives. It has been a while since a drop from the companies. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know all of them. I don't know
Yeah.
all of them. I don't know all the exclusives. I do know like the Spiro. They had their exclusive like little release that they did at there wasn't too many of them, but you had like the Archer
Yeah.
for their AWOC and the other one in Legion's Con, and now you have this. I think that one's a little different. I think it's a very very smart play and partnership that
That's a
will
great idea.
hopefully really boost the image of Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. I'm really excited to hear some feedback on that after Toyland and how well that goes, because I think that's going to be a huge one. I really look forward to seeing the next Animal Talk or Monkey Business channel and hopefully hear how that went, because I think that's a really smart play for those guys. Hey, Random.
What's up, right now?
And then before we wrap up, let's bring this home, right? And, because exclusive themselves aren't the problem, it's how they're being used and how they're marketed. If we were building this the right way, what should an exclusive actually be today? Should it truly be limited and never come back? Or maybe it should just be a variant, not something essential. Or maybe it should be tied to an experience like a con or event only. But how do you do that? Keep the hype and without burning collectors out. And Ed,
Well, I'll tell you what. I think the AWOC example this year is a prime example of how to do an exclusive right. It's an homage figure. And it doesn't have to be an homage. It just needs to be something that's not necessary for your collection, right?
prime line.
Right.
Like
Exactly.
it doesn't need to be like main piece, right?
Right.
It shouldn't be Kali, right? Like it shouldn't be
Right.
pale.
Yeah. It's a
Alternative
simple
version of
repaint.
that maybe, but
Yeah, it's a simple repaint. So, getting it in, and made is not as difficult as trying to do something different, new figure. And they have an exclusive box for that show. So if you get that figure and it's in some other AWOC box, it wasn't bought at that show, right?
absolutely. Sorry, I was commenting on one of Endless's comments here where he said that he has had 20 people reach out to him for the Machio figure at Toylanta, and I said, make that 21, Endless. I'm kidding. Yeah, and then Felonious at some point is supposed to come out too, and that's one that I want.
Yes.
I think Brick said only AWOC exclusives were ones paid for by the conventions, like Tangerine, Machio, and Felonious. Yeah, I mean those are great. Those are great plays, and I know that that makes sense that they would be exclusive to those venues and those events. At the end of it, I think it's respecting it. I think the world's changed from what we remember as exclusives. I think that a lot of independent toy lines are doing a great job promoting that it's exclusive here. You'll get it later. Might be a little bit of a variant. And I think that's the way to do it. I think we have to adapt to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it all comes down to the wording and how it's put out there, right? Like you said in the beginning, if someone says this is the only place you're ever going to be able to get this, buy it here or you're going to miss out, then that's the way it should be. If you say it's going to be, an exclusive, like the Four Horsemen, right? It's going to be exclusive to the show, and then we'll release the standard version later on without these exclusive parts, right? You're still doing an exclusive. But if you're going to do an exclusive and it's just an early buy exclusive, then say that, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be exclusive to the shows this year, and any stock left over will sell at the end of the year after everybody. Like even with the Phantom Core command unit that BBTS did.
Yeah.
We got ours first, right? I went to the show. I pre-ordered it at the show. When it shipped out, all the people that ordered them at the cons got theirs first, right? So the guy that went on BBTS afterwards and paid an extra $10 for it still had to wait
I
until
can deal with
everybody
that.
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
live
and
with
and I
that.
can deal with that. I can live with that approach, and I think that's the way it has to be. I think in closing, like I think we agree, right? It's a different phase of how exclusives are. I think the word had an original meaning to it, and I think that word has evolved. But I think it has evolved, especially with independent toy creators. I think it's evolved to a perspective of how they frame it up moving forward. And as long as they continue to do it, I'm going to speak positively of how Vala has handled it, how Four Horsemen has it, Savage and Spiro, like all of them are like it's exclusive here and now, and as we move forward, it can become available as we go, and I think that's the appropriate. And maybe I'm misspeaking. Spiro hasn't said that really because they haven't had many exclusives.
Right.
That
Yep.
like I think like Brick said, so I don't want to misspeak there. But the three that I did mention, Savage, Horseman, and Vala, have all said and done that, and that I think is the approach that we would want to expect from them, and we should expect from them. And moving forward, that's what an exclusive has become. And now, Ed, as we're wrapping up, is there any comments you want to grab up real quick before we do that?
Yeah. Real quick. Brian saying Savage Crucible drops are an example of a good exclusive, expanding the line, going depth in the lines. Yeah, giving depth in the lines. Yeah, I agree. And then Troy saying he could stop buying right now and have years of fun. Of course, Troy has over 2,000 figures that he's built up in like 5 years, something like that. We figured out he was buying like 800 figures a year for the last 5 years or something crazy. 4,000 figures, something like that. Yeah, he's a crazy man. Frank DeMagno's here. What's up, Frank?
I should do an inventory. I should do a full inventory of what I have. That's going to be my goal for 2026. For 2026, I'm claiming it now, is to open 2027 on the ToyLeet show, with the opening show of 2027, to have a full inventory of all the action figures that I have. That doesn't count the ones my kids have, but just the ones that I have.
All right.
Shouldn't be that bad. Shouldn't be that bad.
Yeah, okay.
Meanwhile, I've come around to this basement as I was building the factory and found boxes I didn't know I had figures in. Thank you, Spiro.
Yes. Thank you, Savage.
Thank you, Savage. exactly. those are the two of the worst. Those are the two that are the worst.
I just found a whole box of Savage Crucibles. Really?
I got a whole bunch of shadow. I got a whole bunch of shadow slates. I don't know where they came from. Yeah, absolutely. And then it's the army builders from Animal Warriors of the Kingdom that I have. But no, yeah, absolutely. So that said,
Brian says he wouldn't suggest doing that.
So that said, we have a cool topic coming up. We already talked about this at the beginning of the show. We won't be back for 3 weeks, largely due to part that next week Ed is going to be hungover from his trip down to Toylanta.
Yes.
He's going to drive it like he stole it and go down to Atlanta and then spin it back up to New York. So I doubt he is going to be able to make next week.
If I didn't have to be back to work on Monday because I'm already taking Friday off, I would definitely hit that show up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then again, check out Toylanta if you're in the area. There's this awesome dude named Terrence, Next Toys. You've seen him on here on our show before. He's been in the chats. He is the creator founder of Creative Realms. Him and Gina, they will be at Toylanta with a booth promoting a number of different ventures like Tide Realm Corsairs, which we've already talked about in the news. They will have Hexastack on display for demo, and you will have a special opportunity to get a code to get a discount to purchase them online. Like I said at the beginning of the show, got 7 new printers up and running, and we are producing a ton of product for that. So those are rocking and rolling now. Very pleased about that. And again,
Brian,
go check out.
I have asked the same question. How the hell do you lose an entire case of figures? Not just once, not twice, but 3 times he's done that. So.
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely been at least 3 times. It's totally forgot that I ordered them. I mean, yeah, that's definitely how that works. It's not a good thing.
Is you sneak them in your house when your wife isn't looking down to the basement, and then you forget that you put them there.
Somebody hit that thing on the head so hard, it's not even funny. That said, Ed, I don't think we told people. We got together a week or 2 ago, got some professional photos done, got our suits and ties done because of the topic next week. Well, not next week, sorry. Because next week we won't be there. Like I said, you're going to be hungover from Toylanta. We'll be gathering some news. I'm sure we'll have a bunch of folks on the ground grabbing news and stuff, so pay attention to that. See what's going on there. Make sure you get your exclusives. I mean, that was what we talked about tonight. And then the week after is the Easter Sunday. So we will not be coming on Easter Sunday. And instead, we'll be back in 3 weeks on April 12th to talk about this. It says back in 2 weeks, but that should say back in 3 weeks. I just don't do math well. But Ed and I will be talking about what would we fix in the toy industry. From manufacturing, pricing, exclusives, and pre-orders. We just complained all night about exclusives. Listen to us complain about running our own toy company. A fictitious toy company created by Ed and myself. And we will talk about what we would do and why we would do it differently and why we would do it better. Why? Because we can. And it's like armchair quarterbacking. And what's better to do than that? That said, Ed, anything you want to say before we go?
No, except that I will not be at Toylanta, unfortunately. I will be driving.
Dude, no, don't lie to these people. You will be there, guys. If you've ever if you ever looked at Where in the World is Waldo, we are going to have.
I don't know what happened to Mr. Wonderful. I don't know what happened to him. Where did he go?
You there? Can you hear me?
Yeah. What the hell happened to you?
Dude, I don't know, man. I don't know. I have no idea what happened.
I thought you ended the show, man. I was like, holy shit, he was just done.
No, but that said, we'll see you back in 3 weeks on April 12th. And until then, stay wonderful.